and welcome to the Boiler Ball pregame show. Mackey Arena, the place to be tonight. The joint will be jumping. It's because it's a top 15 matchup. 13th ranked Illinois against 3rd ranked Purdue. Not only is it the top 15, a couple of teams from the top 15 doing battle, but first place in the Big Ten standings is on the line as well. I'm Rob Blackman, this is Chris Forman. Thank you for joining us here for our Boiler Ball pregame chat as we try to prime the pump for the matchup tonight here against Purdue and Illinois. We know this much, Chris Forman.
Yep.
These two teams have already played once this year. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Champaign, a double overtime win for our Boilermakers, 92-86. Numerous people have already told me there's no way tonight's game can live up to that one. What say you?
Well, if you look at it, the game in Champaign was probably the game of the year right now in the Big Ten. One of the best games in college basketball of the season. If it lives up to that game, we're in for a real treat again tonight.
What a game it was. So many interesting side stories to that game. The first, of course, probably being the fact that Illinois had really changed the way they tried to attack Purdue. It didn't really hurt them all that much because Andre Curbelo, who hadn't been playing in the last 9 games before then because of injury, he played for the first time all year. He was fantastic in that game.
Yeah, Curbelo was sensational, and you don't know if Coburn gets in foul trouble, which probably altered Purdue's defensive game plan a little bit. They bring in Curbelo. He was fantastic in that game, making mid-range jumpers, getting to the hole, distributing. He was outstanding. Changed Purdue's game plan. We'll see what happens tonight. If Coburn gets in foul trouble, you can probably look to see about the same kind of reaction from Illinois.
Curbelo had 20 points and 6 rebounds, so we had a couple little side stories going there for the Illini in that game. Purdue had one as well, and probably as significant as anything, the fact that, in my opinion, you can agree or disagree, the Illinois game was the Eric Hunter coming out party in 2022. Eric had really been laboring. He'll be the first to tell you on the offensive end, but man, he did not labor in that game against Illinois. He was huge.
Yeah, the second half and overtime especially, he was gigantic for the Boilermakers. I think he scored 11 points in the contest, hit some free throws. Travion hit him with a couple dimes on back cuts in second overtime to really keep Illinois at bay. And ever since that game, Eric's played fantastic basketball.
More on Illinois in a moment. Let's revisit Purdue's win Saturday over Michigan. Significant for a couple of different reasons. Number one, Matt Painter gets career win number 400.
Yep, only 51 years old. He's won 400 games in his 18th season as a college basketball coach. Just remarkable numbers. He's on the trajectory to win. If he coaches another 18 years, coaches till he's 70 years old, 800 wins is well within reach.
Wow. The other significant number for Purdue basketball fans, pat yourselves on the back, you deserve it. With that win Saturday, Purdue became the first team in the history of the Big Ten to win 1,000 Big Ten regular season games. Think about that, 1,000 victories.
Yeah, I saw a tweet the other day by Fox Sports that said, it listed the Power 6 conferences, and only Kentucky has more conference wins in the history of college basketball than Purdue. Purdue's been around 120 years in the Big Ten, so obviously a great accomplishment to be the first to get there.
And think about those early seasons. In the late 1800s, they were only playing like 5 or 6 games a year. So 1,000 wins, that's pretty significant. All right, fast forward back to tonight. Here we are, real time. Purdue and Illinois, a big game, yes. First place in the Big Ten on the line. There's another really big game going on tonight in the Big Ten as well. It's just tipped off about 25 minutes ago. Wisconsin and Michigan State.
Yeah, again, 2 more teams with 3 losses, just like Purdue and Ohio State. Illinois leads the league with 2 losses, so that's obviously a big game being played in East Lansing. There's 5 teams, right, bunched up at the top that can make a run if they get on a streak, win a few games in a row, can really elevate themselves in the standings.
The 5th team is Ohio State. They do not play until tomorrow night. 2 teams actually have a game. 2 teams playing tonight in Happy Valley, Michigan at Penn State. That is significant for Purdue because that's a 9 o'clock tip-off tonight. Remember, Purdue is at Michigan Thursday night for a 9 o'clock game, Chris.
Yep, Michigan's going to get home. We're hoping for a few overtimes in Happy Valley.
Yes, come on, Coach Shrewsbury.
Let's get like 3 or 4 overtimes. You know, they'll get home about 4 a.m. if they do that. So that's what we're pulling for. But quick turnarounds for both teams. You know, Purdue will get out of here at midnight tonight, get a little bit of a practice in, 30 minutes or so tomorrow, walk through some stuff, get some shots up and head up to Ann Arbor and see what happens on Thursday. So Michigan will be in the same boat, obviously.
Yeah, Michigan, of course, the difference is they're traveling from Penn State to get back to Ann Arbor. That is a 9 o'clock game, by the way, 9 o'clock. Purdue's next home game, Sunday, 1 o'clock against Maryland. Another CBS game?
Yeah, another CBS game. I think when the schedule came out in October, Maryland was a top 15 team.
Right.
A lot of projections were putting Maryland up there in the upper echelon of the Big Ten, so CBS picked up that game. Maryland hasn't quite lived up to that, but they have a lot of talent, and it will be a tough game as well.
Purdue and Illinois here tonight, 9 o'clock to tip off. The Boilermakers in the Illini. I saw a prediction earlier today, Chris. It said Purdue and Illinois are going to play 4 times this year. Twice in the regular season, once in the Big Ten tournament, once in the NCAA tournament. Your thoughts?
I mean, it'd be awesome. Actually, the prediction was that we'd play in New Orleans. So if that happens,
the Final Four.
If that happens, I think we'd probably take that.
Yes.
Obviously Illinois is a great team. It's a great matchup for us. Both teams are so similar in what they do.
Yeah.
The one thing that I really find interesting tonight is I don't know if I've ever seen a college basketball game, or at least in recent memory, that is really dependent on how the referees are going to call the game.
Sure.
If they call it tight, I would think the advantage goes to Purdue. Illinois is very physical, doesn't have the depth inside that Purdue does. They're very physical on the wings. If they call hand checks and body touches there, it could be a good night for Purdue.
Good point. Purdue and Illinois, 9 o'clock tonight. The rematch after Purdue's double overtime win back on January the 17th at Illinois on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That game went 2 overtimes, but we tipped at 11 in the morning, so who cares? We had all day. 9 o'clock game tonight. Maybe we're not looking for a double overtime game, but we are looking for a Purdue victory. Chris, we'll see you next time. Maybe Sunday.
Maybe Sunday. Absolutely.
For Chris Forman, I'm Rob Blackman. Thanks for joining us again. A 9 o'clock tip. If you're listening on the radio network tonight, to myself and Bobby Bucket Trudell, we thank you for that. Our pregame show begins at 8 o'clock. Purdue and Illinois for first place in the Big Ten standings tonight from Mackey Arena. Have a great night, everyone.